Are you facing divorce or de facto separation with a narcissistic type? Well, today's episode will be great for you because we're going to be talking about the 7 phases that you may face when divorcing a narcissist. This is basically the Narcissist Playbook revisited, but we're going to be talking about in the phases that you may face so that you can be prepared and know what may be coming next. Welcome, Mum.
Hello, Laura. Hello, everyone.
Now, we know everybody loves listening to the Narcissist Playbook, and that was done a couple of years ago. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. But we realized things have changed a little bit. Tactics have moved on. Strategies that we are noticing narcissists are using with our members. So we're going to be talking about what you may come up against. Not saying you're going to, and we're also not saying we're psychologists, and I'm not a lawyer, and Mum is a lawyer,
I am a lawyer.
but she's not a psychologist.
Yes, so and I'm not your lawyer, dears.
Yeah. So we're just discussing what we're seeing happening in this space at the moment so that you can be prepared to maybe not be so surprised when it happens.
And some of the tools maybe that people can use that they didn't have when we did that first recording.
There may be discussions of family violence in this episode. If you are experiencing any family violence, please call 1-800-RESPECT in Australia and they will connect you with the right services. If you are feeling triggered by anything in this episode today, please call 13 11 14 Lifeline and someone can talk to you.
Hello, I'm Laura Furiosi, divorced mother of 3, and I'm here with my mother, Lynette Galvin, with 35 years' experience in family law. You're listening to the Divorce Course podcast. Through our candid discussions, we hope to help you through your divorce or de facto separation. We will be answering the most commonly asked questions and covering the stages and steps that you will face on your way to freedom.
Let's just get straight into it, Mum, because look, just to clarify, guys, you might not have a narcissist, but they may have narcissistic traits. And we did an episode, didn't we, Mum, with Mia recently, where she said you can look at it as a narcissist is a cake, okay? Your ex may have some of the ingredients that go together to create a narcissist. Maybe the eggs is the lack of empathy. The flour is the need to control everything. And so you may not have all of the ingredients that make a narcissist, but you may have some of them. Your ex may be showing you some of these. And so these types of people, the types of people we see do these things in divorce all the time. So let's get into phase 1, Mum. And this is when people maybe haven't even left yet. Maybe they know it's coming. Everyone knows they're going to break up, but your ex may notice that you're just done. You're like, I'm not even going to bother arguing with this person because it's a waste of my time. And you've changed your behaviors. And the cycle that you may have been going through, you've broken that cycle and you're done. But you haven't yet said, I'm leaving, or you haven't really done anything about it. And this is when the phase 1 of guilt tripping and love bombing really sets in because they're desperate to keep you in that relationship.
They are.
You are all probably aware, if you have this type of ex, that they may all of a sudden become the best partner in the world. They may give you flowers, take you on dates, promise you the earth, ask you to go to counselling, say they're going to change.
And they say to go to counselling when they've probably been refusing to go to counselling when you've asked for it for years.
And they may, without you realising it at this stage, try and manipulate you to staying because you can't leave, making it hard for you to be able to leave. So, Mum, in your line of work, when do you speak to people where you realise that their ex has narcissistic trait, has manipulated them in a way so that they haven't left yet? What kind of things do you see happening in the legal world?
Yes. So by the time a person comes to a lawyer or phones a lawyer, they're probably at that stage that you mentioned where they're over it. Right? But they're still being love bombed and their ex is showing traces of the person they fell in love with. But most of the time, by the time they come to see a lawyer for the first time, they've been through a number of cycles of either leaving and coming back or nearly leaving and coming back or threatening to leave and then giving up. So sometimes people would come and see me and they would get all their information and then I wouldn't hear from them for months. Or they'd put money in trust and then they'd say, look, we've decided to give it another go. So I send all the money back and then later on they break down. But you can tell usually in those very early stages when someone comes in to see me, they used to say things like, oh, they're so smart. They're so smart. They're so clever. We'll never sort it. I'm worried about what they say, or they say that I'm not worth anything or I'm not going to win. So there's just a lot of timidity.
So they're usually saying things like, you can't leave until we've gone to marriage counselling.
I see that.
You can't leave until the renos are done. You can't leave until we've had property settlement. We've even heard some of them say, you can't leave until we've had a divorce. You have to wait 1 year.
Yeah.
All of these kind of weird, made up BS that they give to people that make them feel then they have to stay.
And you might even say, let's not separate until we do this, or there's no point unless we do this. And then, of course, they drag their feet. And they might be someone who can, where their ex is in the house and will not leave, even though they've got somewhere else to go, even though the relationship is over. They just want to stay and kind of cling on. And I don't know that it's always trying to get you back in terms of having that relationship again. Sometimes I think it pays, they want to pay you, make you suffer, and then they want to dump you.
Or they just want to continue to control you, even though they want to move on. Maybe they've even had an affair, or maybe they've got another partner, but they still want to have control over you and the kids. So we do see this a lot in the phase 1, all these tactics that these types of people use to trick people, manipulate people into staying. Even I've heard of them like writing down, look, this is what the property is, this is how much you get, there's no point you leaving because you'll get nothing, or if you leave, I'm going to make sure you get nothing. So whilst there is love bombing and guilt tripping, it's also trying to manipulate you. Also, why don't you just stay for another year because Susie's not finished high school, or why don't you stay until after Christmas and then they try and use that time to hoover you back. So that's more of a psychology kind of thing. But I wanted to point out in that phase, in that early phase 1, if you don't know your legal rights, if you don't understand family law, if you haven't seen someone, you may be tricked for another year or two by these people.
Well, I think that's where let's not get the lawyers involved. It'll just cost us money. Don't touch my super. I'll let you go if you don't touch my super. But also in that preliminary stage where you may not have actually left yet, but you've made up your mind, that heads up that you've given them about leaving is their signal to start looking for a new partner or start changing things around so that they get more in the property settlement, because all they're worried about is what about me?
So we're going to get to that in phase 3.
Oh, phase 3.
Image management and singing campaigns. So after you've done phase 1, where they're just trying to kind of manipulate you, do bargaining, trick you into staying a bit longer, then we go to phase 2, where they really know you are going. You're definitely 100% going. This is happening, whether they like it or not. You've made up your mind. And that's when we get to the other types of manipulation. So they may have convinced you, let's go to family therapy, let's go to marriage counselling, let's try and sort this out. You at least owe me that, they may be saying. There have been, and this is a trigger warning, so many people who have told me that their exes have said that if they leave, that they will unalive themselves. And that's a trigger warning. Please call 13 11 14 if you're triggered by that. But, Mum, is that considered family violence?
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Threatening to self-harm is family violence. And the other thing is definitely.
The initial reaction would be, I can't do that to my ex, regardless of whether you hated their guts. The last thing you want someone to do is do that and you be the reason for it. But it is a tactic and a way to continue to control. It is almost the ultimate tantrum, as you've said, Mum, in the past.
I know that sounds cruel, but it is. It's the ultimate tantrum. But it is, at this stage, often a tactic just to keep you there.
Yeah. So in this phase, so you've got that kind of manipulation going on. If you are with a narcissistic type and that has occurred, document it, talk to the therapist. I am sure your therapist will say, please don't do any more of this.
And I would suggest call an ambulance for them or call their mother and put them in the hands of the government or the medical professionals or call their family members to take control of him or her and health, right? And that way you've done all you can do, but you're not trying to battle it alone. You know, another thing is they like you to don't tell anybody.
Yes.
But if they didn't want you to tell it, I always say they shouldn't have done it in the first place. It's not your shame.
So that is that manipulation. They're just trying to make you feel bad for their issues. So trying to use your emotions to manipulate you. So threatening self-harm. Again, if you tell anyone I'm going to lose my job, all of these kind of things. Or I don't have any friends. How could you leave me? And usually these types of people don't have friends.
No. One I like is don't get a family violence order against me because I won't be able to keep my guns. If a person could possibly be found guilty of family violence, should they really have weapons?
So all of these kind of things, they're making you feel bad for them. But when you look at it from the outside, they've got themselves into this situation. And like Mum said, if they didn't want people to know about it, they shouldn't have done it.
Yes.
So you need to really, in this phase 2, where they're just super trying every kind of manipulation they can because they really know that they're losing you, you need to have a firm standing. You need to have your own psychologist and you need to be aware of these behaviours. Now, the other thing in this phase, Mum, just quickly, is you may have separated and you be in your own space, they're in their own space. One of the ways they can still get access to you is demanding to come back and get something. Yes, I need to come back and get my second watch. I need to come back and get the tools that Auntie Joe gave me that are in the corner and you don't know where they are.
And don't forget, they'll say to you, I don't know everything I want, but I'll come and get it as I need it. I've still got a key to the house. It's still my house. I've got keys.
So that kind of behaviour, if you've got an ex who's constantly coming back in and they're using every opportunity they can to see you, to check on you, to see if you're dating, to have an opportunity to then beg you again to take them back, they use this as that time. Mum, what can people do if their ex is constantly trying to come back into the house or constantly trying to ask for their stuff?
Well, I think in that new phase that we're talking about, you need to establish that they live somewhere else now and you live in this place. And although their name may be on the mortgage or maybe on the title deed, you're like a tenant of their half. Okay, you own half and you're a tenant of their half or tenant of all of it if they own the lot. And you're entitled, as a tenant would be, to have your own space and not have your landlord showing up every 5 minutes. So ways that you can deal with this is by changing locks, by putting firm boundaries. Even if your boundaries have been a bit spongy at the start, you can then put them into place. Give them a date and a time to come and collect everything, and what they don't get then has to stay until they have final property settlement. I mean, just draw that line there. Tell them, come and get their urgent stuff. If they can't remember it, it can't be that urgent. Everything else stays until property settlement. And that just...
It's a good idea. We've got a really good episode called What About Their Belongings? And this problem crops up all the time because they are just say, I was just here getting my stuff. So you can't talk to the police and say, look, he keeps coming over, because I go, well, he's just coming to get his stuff.
Here's a tip. If you've got a family violence order and the police are involved, get a provision put in the order, if you can, of a date and time by which your ex must come and get their stuff, or a date and time of which they actually have to come, like a specific date and a specific time, and then to stay away and be of good behaviour after that. So those are ways that you can do it.
So you've gotten to that phase, you've got them out of your house or you're in your own space, they're not coming in, you've got their belongings sorted so you don't have that manipulation going on, and you've put up your boundaries. And with a narcissist, you really need to just really put up your boundaries with these guys. And we've got 10 boundaries you should set up in divorce. Go and listen to that episode as well. Your ex has realised, okay, it's 100% done. This love bombing, this begging, this manipulation, it's not working. I need to change tact. And all of a sudden, all this lovely, kind, trying to be there for you, all of a sudden, when they realise you're really done, they switch to phase 3 and the mask drops and they are not nice people anymore. And this is when they go into image management and smear campaigns, because they've realised, oh my gosh, what is everyone going to think? I've lost my family, or I've lost my wife or my husband, I've lost my kids, or whatever they've done. And this person's going to reveal the real me to the world, particularly if it's family violence related. And so they have some strategies to try and make you look like the bad guy instead. So, Mum, we talked about in the past, they go straight to your family.
Oh, absolutely.
Need to start doing your disclosure but have no idea where to start? Feeling overwhelmed about mediation coming up? Or just trying to deal with negotiating with a manipulative ex? Then you need to go to thedivorcecourse.com.au to go to the free resources section where you can get a mediation checklist, a disclosure checklist, a word salad, read a letter like a pro checklist, and also a before you go checklist. Get ahead of the game and be organised and ready, as this handy checklist, along with the accompanying episodes of the podcast, will be perfect for you. All you need to do is go to thedivorcecourse.com.au and go to the free resource section and download the free checklists today.
So, Mum, we talked about in the past, they go straight to your family.
Oh,
don't they?
Absolutely. Straight to your family. And they say things like, I don't know what's wrong with him. He's just left. You need to get him back. You know, I'm worried about him. He's saying crazy stuff. So don't listen to him when he comes and tells you I've done stuff throughout the relationship. Don't listen. It's just they're crazy talking.
Okay, so they go to your family and they literally try and get your family and your friends or your joint friends onto their side before you've even had a chance to even tell anyone what's going on. So be mindful of that. And so if you are listening to this and you haven't left your ex yet and they are doing horrible things that no one knows about, tell some people first before you tell your ex that you're leaving.
Do you know, you'll often hear that they say, we've reached agreement. Let's agree not to tell anyone until after Christmas, say. And then they go and tell everyone, so they get it first, including telling the kids.
Yeah. The other thing they may do, I know I said the masks drop and the nasty starts, but they may be thinking, how can I fix my image before this gets out? So we've heard of people changing to Parent of the Year. They may have never, ever done anything nice for the kids ever, never lifted a finger, and then all of a sudden they're doing everything. And you may think, oh, that's great.
And
but
the kids love it.
It's image management. They also may ask you, hey, let's go to therapy. And you may be thinking, you may not have cut off therapy yet. And instead of going to therapy with you to try and fix the issue, they are going to therapy for image management. And that is to make them look like the good guys and you look like the bad guy for court. Do we see that a lot, Mum, happening in court?
We do, but it doesn't matter because that stuff's not admissible if you're going to family therapy by and large. But yes, I do see that. They have a look at themselves and they go, oh, if I keep doing that, I'm going to be in trouble when we go to court. So I better start doing these things. And that's where I think we did an episode about how to maintain your primary carer role throughout the marriage by documenting what happened. And if someone wants to suddenly be parent of the year, then find a way of making that completely obvious that this is a new thing. There's no harm in it. If they want to help, they can help.
So if your ex is all of a sudden trying to be Parent of the Year and you're thinking, oh, this is great, but then you just need to be aware of it. We've got an episode on how to protect your role as primary carer because that does matter in court later when it comes to custody.
And also child support. So it's financial. That's what the Law Reform Commission found, that a lot of the people wanting 50-50 arrangements and so forth because of financial reasons.
Yes. And in this image management smear campaign, I'm just going to put it out there. There are literally psychologists and therapists out there, I'm going to say it, that take one gender's side over another. And it's been exposed in the ABC reports where they will go, okay, bring your child and your wife or bring your child and your husband along and I will manipulate this process and I will write a report for the court that shows that you're the better person. That literally has been recorded because what ended up happening in that ABC report is the father was seeing this person and they thought it was so unconscionable. Even though it was for his own case, he realised it was wrong and he recorded her secretly and reported it to
Isn't
authorities.
That brilliant?
So it's happening. It's out there. Contact centres, all of it, a whole bunch of people out there with no ethics, and the ABC News reports have been digging it up. So just be aware of that. When a narcissist is trying to do image management or smear campaigning, don't fall for any of that kind of stuff. Ask questions.
Yes,
Ask
and
questions.
Be proactive in choosing the person who might be going to be your mediator. Make sure you get a panel of 3 and don't have them say, oh, I've sorted out mediation with this person or I've sorted counsel with this person, counselling.
The other thing they do in smear campaigns and image management phase 3 is they use social media. Okay.
Oh,
they'll either use social media to make themselves look good. All of a sudden, their profile picture will be the kids. There'll be pictures of them doing all nice things, and all of the bad things they've ever posted or things that were confusing or a bit dodgy, all deleted. It's all gone. It's a rebranding.
I've seen someone who absolutely was violent to the wife and the children and posts a big "say no to violence" on their Facebook page.
Yes, on Domestic Violence Day. Yes. So there are people out there that have it. Basically, they're media managing and they're rebranding themselves. And then the thing with it is you've got to be aware that they can use social media against you in the smear campaign. If you are struggling, if you are completely broken from leaving this relationship, having to make that decision to go, being manipulated, gaslit, all of the things that you may have experienced all this time, of course, in the first early stages, you're going to go a little bit off the rails. You're going to need support. You're not going to be 100% a perfect put together person, but they will find that and use that against you. So on your social media, you need to shut it all down, because you may have family or friends who are, what do they call them? Flying monkeys?
Flying monkeys.
Who will screenshot something that you post and send it to your ex. That includes those passive-aggressive texts, like things that allude to stuff but don't
actually say. Because it's illegal. It's illegal if you're in court. The court will punish you if you reveal any details that would help the court identify any children involved in family violence situations, for instance, or family law proceedings. So you've got to be very careful.
So you've got to just shut down social media.
Yes.
Right. You don't have to shut it down, but just, they say, what is it? Dance like no one's watching, but post on social media like a judge is reading it every day.
Out loud. In a packed court.
Yes. So be mindful of smear campaigns. Your narcissistic ex is going to 100% try and get you in some sort of compromised situation, get you angry and make you write a mad text message, get you to say something horrible, and then use that against you. So just be really mindful of that. Okay, phase 4, Mum.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the phase that a lot of people get locked in and stuck in, and this is a lot of the people in our members and groups that have this financial control and delay tactics.
Yes.
This is another tantrum that they're throwing because they don't like being told what to do. And they don't want to share.
And they don't think you'll go to court. She won't go to court. He won't go to court. So I'm just going to stall. And I'm here to say, if you've got someone who is delaying on any of those things, if you're being controlled by them through it, send them the notice of intention to file and file in the court, because the court has mechanisms to deal with people who won't make disclosure and who delay. And then it's the court will get them in trouble.
Let's talk about what the court will do, but let's talk about what the financial control and delay tactics are first.
Oh, okay.
So we've got withholding disclosure, because people need to do disclosure for property settlement. That's providing your bank accounts, your superannuation information, all of the financial stuff, documents that you need. Dragging out valuation, refusing to have their businesses valued, losing documents. So that's one of the delay tactics. Another financial control tactic is using their money as a way to manipulate, saying, if you don't sign this consent form, you're not getting any money. Or if you don't agree to this, I'm not going to let you have money this week.
I'm not going to contribute to the mortgage, or I'm not going to pay for the kids. So they want everything out of the legal field where they can be punished by outsiders, and they want that power over you.
Getting banks to shut off access to finances. We see this a lot. People all of a sudden have no access to money. So if you are in that situation where you think your ex may do that, what can they do, Mum?
Well, take the money. Normally, I'd say take the money. You can always give it back. If you don't take the money, you may find yourself having to go to court to ask the court to order them to give you the money. So it's a very common tactic for one party to cut the other one out. And particularly if you've been stay-at-home parent and you don't have a big salary, but if you've got money in a savings account, you could take maybe all of it or half of it, depending if it's a joint account, but take enough to get you started if you can, and it'll all get sorted out in the wash later, but at least you've got security.
And this is not legal advice, so please get your own independent legal advice.
True.
The other two things that we're noticing is happening, and this is their way of trying to control you. So it's financially trying to control you. They may say, if you want to go down this property settlement route because they don't want to do it, you're going to have to pay me back for all of these things I've done for you over the years because that was all my money. Or they may get their parents involved and their parents may say, well, we helped you pay for some trip to Disneyland. You need to pay us half back. So there's all of a sudden
those things.
There's all this money drama going on. So Mum, when it comes to, let's talk about the disclosure, dragging out valuations, that kind of naughty behaviour. What's happening in the courts at the moment with that?
Well, they have a defaulters list for people who don't obey court orders.
And what does the defaulters list do?
Speeds the case right to trial, and if they continue not to provide disclosure, they may find that their response to your application is kicked out and you have an undefended hearing. That's the worst case. They can order costs. The court can order costs when you go to court, that they pay you costs, and they can give them a really good verbal lecture. And your status goes up in the eyes of the abuser. They're like, oh, okay, I didn't think that she'd do that to me, or I didn't think he'd do that. Yeah.
Right. And
It's
so
the next
really,
one, right?
phase 4 is really, it's just controlling and delaying all the money and just trying to keep a hold of it as tightly as possible. Phase 5, using the kids to manipulate you.
Yeah.
So that's undermining your parenting.
Yep.
That's trying to go for more custody than what's fair. Using custody battles as a weapon or a tool to hurt you. Refusing to pay your school fees or making drama over medical things. All of a sudden denying your child has a medical condition that they've always considered. Refusing to contribute to anything for the children unless they are the ones who pay for it or the ones who've made the decision. And making every parenting issue literally a nightmare.
And can I add one? Recruiting the children, talking to the children as an adult to adult conversations about what their other parent is doing. That's terrible. It's abuse of the children and it uses them. And then you've got 2 people at you or 3, depending how many kids you've got.
So, Mum, when it comes to that, what if someone says, I'm going to go for full custody to hurt them, does the court let that happen?
Not usually, no. There's got to be a reason for the court to do it. So no matter what they say, the court will look at the best interest and what's been happening during the relationship.
So we're going to go into more depth about the manipulation of children and those things in our other episodes. I'll put some links in the show notes. We are going to do an episode about the medical dramas because that seems to be happening a lot.
It's important.
But just be mindful, Mum, if you are going through divorce with a narcissistic type, is it better to ask for a certain type of parenting arrangement when it comes to medical decisions and schooling and things like that, if these people are always constantly painful?
If at the moment, as the law stands, if there's no orders, each of you has the power to make all of the decisions about the child that you would have had if you were together. The only time the court makes orders that one of you have decision-making responsibility for the children, perhaps for education or for hospital or for everything, is if there's too many disputes and someone has to go to court to settle it out. And instead of the court saying, this school, or yes, they've got this disease, they just listen to both of you and go, okay, well, that person is going to have sole decision-making responsibility for that, so that the children are represented in those things by someone that the court thinks will be able to best preserve the interests of the children.
Okay, so go and listen to those episodes if you are struggling with that. We're just touching on these phases. So phase 6 is the manipulation of the legal system. And this is this post-separation abuse that we talk about. We've got a really good episode on legal and financial abuse, what happens after divorce when it doesn't end. But I'm just going to list out some of the things they do. So they make false allegations, vexatious litigation, they play the victim in court, they paint you as crazy, they paint you as a bad parent. They can use the DAVO tactics, the deny, attack, reverse offender. You can go and listen to that episode as well. Make applications and withdraw them. Make threats, then withdraw them. Legal threats and lies, just designed to intimidate and control you. They might write affidavits full of crazy lies. And another thing that we're noticing in manipulating the legal system is this false allegations of alienation when their behaviour has caused the kids to not want to be anywhere near them either. And then instead of accepting that they have some behaviour to do with their children's attitude, they are blaming the other parent. Mum, when you see this legal systems manipulation, and we do have 2 episodes people can go and listen to on this, but are you seeing the court paying attention to any of this?
I am. And the legislation recently changed so that they're looking at harmful proceedings now. If there's no benefit to the party or the child, the parties or the children, and if the court gets a whiff that they're just filing proceeding after proceedings, the court can, of its own volition, say that these are harmful proceedings, I'm kicking them out.
Okay. So if you think you're going to get up to phase 6 and be in the legal system with your ex, be aware of these false allegations that may come out at you. Don't be surprised if they write an affidavit full of lies. And we've done an episode on what if your ex lies in court. So go and document everything. Be prepared and be ready for all sorts of fairy tales to come out. Now, lastly is chaos and control. This is phase 7. So phase 7 is you've come out the other end of court. You've finally finished. You've got whatever you've got to accept what it is, and you're trying to move on, and you've still got a narcissistic ex who maybe you have to co-parent with or get financial stuff done from your court orders. So things that you can accept in phase 7 that may happen is them still insisting they want to know everything that's going on, but even though they're not doing anything or helping, them creating drama from any minor issue, them refusing to accept the boundaries or take any actions unless it benefits them, not following the court orders, stalking, or they may even start a new family and then continue to use that as a way to manipulate and control you.
Shocking. Look, the one thing I'd say about that, Laura, is you will get better. You'll get better at dealing with that stuff, and gradually, although sometimes people don't believe you, but gradually they will move on, right? And if they don't, you will, and you'll go, well, you know, they can be angry for the rest of their lives, but I'm not. I've got a new life and I'm moving forward.
So once you're through the legal system, the good news is you've got your orders, you know what you have to do and what you don't have to do. If they start saying you have to do things, go and check with the lawyer and say, do I have to do this, or is this just them demanding? Because we hear of so many people.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my ex says I have to give them an update every day on how the child is. If they're not critically ill and they're just living their day-to-day lives, you don't have to tell them squat, do you?
Have a look at Section 61 DAB, I think, DAB,
yes,
which tells you DAB. And that will make you feel better.
Yeah, it's just the day-to-day things. Yeah. All right, so they're the 7 phases. So it's love bombing and guilt tripping, emotional manipulation and hoovering. Then phase 3 is image management, smear campaigns. Phase 4 is control and delay tactics financially. Then phase 5 is using the kids as manipulation tools. Phase 6 is manipulating the legal system. Phase 7 is chaos and control. And I think what's really important is it's not your fault.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. And if you hadn't recognized these patterns before, it's still not your fault. They are master manipulators, aren't they, Mum?
They are. And they're not original. That's the one good thing about these manipulative people is they're very predictable.
Yeah. Now, we have gone in depth on how to deal with post-separation abuse, legal abuse, parental alienation, false accusations, all of this stuff in our episodes. I will put links in the show notes. But if you can look at parallel parenting strategies instead of co-parenting, because you can't co-parent with these people. Choose a good legal team that's aware of these types of behaviours. Make sure that your legal team believes you. If you have some lawyer who doesn't believe you and believes their BS, is that really going to make you feel like you're going through the right thing? And make sure you've got an emotional and practical safety plan. And we've just done an episode on safety planning. Please go listen to that. And make sure you set up those boundaries. So my final thoughts is you're not alone. I reckon I've listed out something that at least 2 or 3 things you guys have experienced. Our members have told us so many of these things. I just felt like we just had to vomit it all out because in the Q&As they go, oh, you must have the same ex as I do.
I know they say that.
They're doing exactly the same things.
Yes.
Exactly the same things.
So it's just their pattern and you can work with it now that you know it's going to happen.
Now, if you would like the 7 phases of the narcissist in divorce, you can sign up to our email list, the Divorce Course. Go to thedivorcecourse.com.au and sign up to our newsletter, and I will make sure you get a copy of those 7 phases so you can prep yourself and be prepared We have plenty of episodes to show you what you can do about these phases to help you get through it. And we wish you all the best in dealing with this. The good news is they're predictable.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Mum, is there anything you want to embroider on a cushion?
No, I think it's just a game to them. I don't know that you can print that on a cushion. Maybe you can just do, what's the abbreviation for seriously with a question mark? Is it seriously?
Predictable.
Predictable.
They're predictable. Yeah. But stay safe, everyone. Get your emotional support. Once you've got that solid base and you know they're not going to change and you know this is what you're going to potentially go through, it is easier. Radical acceptance is what it's called.
Yes.
Radical acceptance.
Perfect.
Once you face the fact of who you're dealing with, it can be a lot easier to deal with it. All right. Thank you, Mum, so much for your time. And thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll see you again next week.
No worries. Bye-bye, Laura. Bye, everyone. All the best.
If you found this podcast helpful, we'd love it if you could rate, review and subscribe. By doing so, you are spreading the word to help someone else just like you. Lynn would like to remind you that this podcast is general advice only and you should always get legal advice in relation to your particular situation. And remember that the Australian laws may have changed since recording.